Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm finally receiving some hate online. That means I must be going somewhere. So let's talk quickly about one of the things that I've noticed. It's part of the boom, part of the really crazy Pokemon market that we're currently finding in. And it's part and parcel with the existence of scalpers, their return to the community, the scalping, the bots. Let's talk about the anger that the presence of these scalpers causes. Now, I know that you hate scalpers. I know that you hate bots. I hate them too. I'm just like you. But the thing about the scalpers, it is a symptom. It's a symptom of supply issues, as far as I can tell. There is demand, but I think there's also supply issues. I just don't I just don't see enough supply hitting the market for squashers to squashers for scalpers to get squashed. They need to, they need to do what happened to Journey Together to them more. So what has to happen is supplies hit the market, and so much supply that it becomes detrimental for them to sell at MSRP. Like, it becomes the point where it's a waste of their time to buy and sell something. Now, Destined Rivals, very scalpable. The reason it's scalpable is because you could go in and you buy your Destined Rivals ETB off the shelf, go home, put it on the old Facebook Messenger marketplace, and bang, net $30. Now, $30, you're not going to get rich with $30. But $30 is a lot of money for some people. $30 is, for someone who makes minimum wage, it's like 2 or 3 hours of work. And it's, for them, the difference of having, a really good Friday night where they can buy pizza for their family, or, get themselves some high proof apple juice for them to have a little bit of a party. It's a big deal. And most people don't have an extra $30 around. And the fact that they can buy and sell, make that little bit of money, and not have to work a job, not have to be subject to someone else, or all of their job earnings are taken up by other stuff. Everything that they earn goes towards something else. They scalp. They see the opportunity. Obviously, when you're in a stuck position, you're not going to have a lot of feelings for others. You're not going to think, oh, I don't want to buy this because some 10-year-old is going to want it. They don't have those feelings, right? They are stuck, not having what other people have. They are stuck with a car that breaks down and they have no means to fix it. They are stuck with these situations. And, everyone has hardships, but to a scalper, there's two types of scalpers. One is there's that guy who has these hardships, and then there's I know they call them sneaker bros, but there's these guys with the bots, with all the money, with the capital, who can buy up everything, buy over the shelf and hoard, or immediately sell. Those two different types. I have no love for either type, but for those who are hustling, for those who are buying $7.99 Destined Rivals sleeved blisters and selling them for $12 to try to make that, $3 of profit. I understand you're taking it off the shelf. They understand they're taking it off the shelf. But to them, it is a means of acquiring a little bit of extra spending money that they're not going to feel it has to be taken towards something else. It's absolute pleasure money, or they're in a dire situation money. It's the same thing that thievery happens. Like the thieves that did the chargeback on me. They did not look like they were wanting for hungry on a Friday night. their goal was to make a lot more money and to abuse others, right? To abuse other people for lack of empathy. But you have to have a little empathy for these people who are flipping. Now, not a whole lot, but a little. Now, we run an online community. We run basically a Facebook group dedicated here in Nova Scotia. Myself, a couple under vendors, a couple of mods, a couple of really people who have deep collection histories. You know, they're verified, they're known for doing deals and for being, you know, for following through on those deals. So we have a community. We have a group of mods, and we review posts, and we also review the people who join this group, because we don't want, you know, John Milkway from Nigeria to join our group and try to sell cards without timestamps or stuff they've pulled from the internet. So we, you know, enforce rules. We enforce things like having a timestamp, physical timestamp, having prices, so you're not like fishing. Yeah. So one of the weird things, the discussion that we've had was around scalpers. The concept of what do we do with them? We know they exist. We all hate them. We know exactly, like, it's those guys who they're posting their timestamps, they're posting their marketplace thing in our group. You can see the GameStop prices there. So they went into GameStop and bought what they could. They're not ripping anything. They're not collecting. It's going right to Facebook Marketplace. And we decided, well, what do we do with them? Do we not let them post? Do we boot them? And, well, we have decided to, and we have a rule that you have to be a real person. We decided to let these people out themselves, which means if they have, you know, a profile, they're obvious scalpers, we're going to allow them to post, and we're going to allow people to, you know, not abuse these people, but see them, you know, for what they're doing. So unlikely the scalpers, the guys who are going in and buying everything, unlike they're going to flip and become a business or going to flip and become a long-term collector. These are people we want out of the community, out of the group, by letting them out themselves. And I don't know if that's the right approach. We're letting them post that they're selling their destined rivals PCETB for $320. Or, oh geez, what else? Their $400 booster box of destined rivals that has the GameStop sticker on it, or things like that. We're letting them post that. We'll see what happens. They probably don't care, right? They're here temporarily. In a month or 2 months, maybe 6 months, who knows, they're going to stop. They're going to be gone. They're either going to get burned by a product, or they're going to get to the point where they stop making money. I hope they get burned, but stop making money. There's going to be, like, hopefully an influx, more supply, and they're going to be caught bag holding. And these are people who don't have money, or they don't have morals. They don't have, you know, they don't have the empathy to say, I'm not going to do that because I'm not a bad person. They just go ahead. They have to do it, whether it's for need of money or for lack of empathy. They have to do it. I hope they get burned enough to leave. Maybe not burned where they're, you know, out of their house or whatever, out of their home. But you can make a lot of mistakes when you're doing Pokemon. You can make a lot of errors, buy things, and they'll flop. I know I've bought stuff at Japanese prices, and all of a sudden the next week everything flops down. You know, things drop $30. Booster boxes of Japanese drop $30. And I know what's going to happen. I don't feel bad, and I don't want people to feel bad that I bought, was it Glory of Team Rocket at $180, and now I'm stuck selling them for $129. I don't want people to feel bad for me, and it's just part of the game, and I have that built into the model that I use for running the Poke Chalet. I hope these scalpers have some sort of model in place so that when they get burned, which they will, when they're caught holding, when they happen to have friends with low morales decides to rob them, when things like that go sour for them, I hope they realize that they shouldn't come back, which is really what a lot of the hate online is trying to articulate. They're not wanted. You can come in and buy 2 boxes. You can keep one sealed. That's part of it. It's been around forever. But the people who are buying up stuff and immediately flipping, those are the people pissing people off. And people are angry. Now, thinking about the anger, I try to figure out, why are people so angry? A lot of times, people will claim, oh, well, my son and daughter can't get any. And truthfully, if you're a parent and your son and daughter want something, you don't want to pay those scalper prices, of course, but you could probably find a way to get them without... it's hard, but you could probably find a way to get them. But a lot of times it's people who want to collect, want to be able to buy stuff, want to be able to have that experience of picking something up at a good price. And that's what people are being robbed. These are people who've gotten good prices before. They got deals. They go in and they'll get like a $50 ETB. I'm talking Canadian. And that'd be a good deal, right? They'll be able to rip it and it won't be very expensive and it'll be great entertainment. But now, those same people who might spend $50 on an ETB for a Friday night rip session, they're faced with their fun now costing $120 because somebody is not being empathetic. They're scalping. They're buying everything that they could have bought. Now, we don't want to see things below MSRP anymore, do we? Some people do. But in general, MSRP is what Pokemon wants us to sell the product of. In theory, if it was floating around MSRP, a lot of stores would be happy. Trust me, if you were getting MSRP for Pokemon, stores would be very happy. This is only a recent phenomenon within the last 6 months that's happening. Anyway, back to the feeling. So many people are so upset, and I encourage them to realize that it's those people's lack of empathy that makes them villains. When you look at them as villains, you shouldn't really put all that vitriol to them, right? You have to see that they're doing something stupid because, yeah, they're stupid. But don't let them get under your skin. The solution, and I know it's not a good solution, but the solution is to not buy at those prices. The solution is to leave people hanging high and dry, and is actually, if you wait out, if everyone waits out, and people have a hard time waiting, if you wait out and wait for things to be available, wait for restocks, avoid buying from Mr. Facebook Marketplace, who's charging, more than market, or charging a bunch of money on release day for a product that they picked up at GameStop. Don't buy from them. Now, you want product. Where do you get it? A lot of times, the horse that you choose, the horse you bet on, can go wrong. This happens a lot. You're deciding where you spend your money. And I'm going to be a little bit, toot my own horn a little bit. So there's a couple of vendors here in Halifax, and some decided that their prices are going to follow market. And I understand it. Some decided that supply is so limited that they're going to charge market plus a little bit. And that's not so good. That's going to hurt some people. And it's going to hurt some relationships. And a lot of people who you've established a buying relationship with, you've bought from them before, and for some reason their prices are gone high. I mean, remember that this is happening, because in 6 months, they're going to be selling for a lower price. They're going to want you to keep coming. And there's going to be another person across the town who, maybe rumor has it, didn't charge incredibly high prices. they're going to be selling for the same price as that other person. Prices are going to come back down. Who do you buy from? The guy who jacked up the prices incredibly high, or the guy that didn't? And we didn't jack up our prices very high, so it's a little bit of self-serving narrative right there. But that's the way it works, right? Think about if you're going to be in this hobby for the long term, and I am situated our business to find loyal customers, find people who are into collecting. I try to promote good collecting habits, buying singles, ripping for fun. Try to promote, if someone is pursuing a collection goal, try to help them. Ask them what they need. Try to help make it happen. That's the kind of person, and not everybody's in Halifax. This is everywhere. In Ontario, in Winnipeg, in Yellowknife, in Alaska, in Nebraska, in Hawaii. Find the store who's going to do by you right. It's pretty obvious who some of them are. It's obvious depending on how they try to get product to people. You could see some of the best people online. Danny Phantom, top shelf. These are the people who are going to help you out. Even Rudy from Alpha Investments, the most capitalist man, he does not charge market for release stuff. He charges market below market for release stuff. Still, he does it for his patrons. He gets a monthly paycheck. That's fine. But think of it that way. Even the most capitalist person, in it for the long run, definitely Rudy is, doesn't charge market, charges market minus money, minus a discount for his patrons. So definitely seek out the stores, the individuals, the vendors, the people who are going to do right by you over the long term. And it's a very self-serving narrative because, hey, I think I'm one of those guys. A lot of people, a lot of vendors think they're one of those guys. A lot of vendors I've talked to, they're like victims. Like, of course I'm going to charge $350 for a booster box. 2 years ago, I couldn't get $190 for a booster box. And Canadian. So it's the same thing, right? It's this very self-serving thing that to them, they're only sort of balancing what happened to them. They had to sell, really cheaply. They had to go with no margins. They had to do it for the love of it. And now they want to profit. And it's just how they feel, right? It's to them, it's the solid truth. That's how things should be. And I encourage you to think about the relationships that are happening right now. The vendors. I am not a good vendor when it comes to, relationships and being a great conversationalist. I like being alone a lot more than I like being out and about. But think about that when you're out talking to vendors. Try to form those relationships. Try to understand if they're out there just to get you or they're out there to capture you as a long-term customer, because it matters. So guys, what do you think? Should we be kind to scalpers? And I think the best way to be kind to scalpers is ignore the F out of them and not pay their prices. Or should we be angry? Should we be mean? Should we be quitting the hobby because of scalpers? Should we be giving up? Should we be foregoing reasonable thinking in favor of the hatred that we feel for being denied our pleasure, being overcharged our money for somebody who didn't make the same choices as us in a sticky situation or trying to take advantage of us? I mean, it's a rough place to be. It's a hard thing to think about. Do you hate them, but do you act on it? And my best suggestion is don't. My best suggestion is ignore it and it will go away. These scalpers will disappear. Don't buy from bots. Try to figure out who the good guys are. And that's a very difficult thing to do, but give it a go. Thanks, guys. See you next time.